Welcome back, and this is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile we put Ghana first, and here is Samson's take. A point of corruption. Let MPs stay in the chamber. Yes, let them stay in the chamber, not in boardrooms and not as ministers. The sanctuary of our democracy, Parliament, is facing a deepening crisis of presence, and it's a self-inflicted wound. The latest findings on MP absenteeism are not just a depressing statistic. They are a direct measure of our legislators' disregard for their primary mandate. And like a broken record, the Speaker, like his predecessors, is left to lament this indiscipline. The Speaker's threat that they will lose their seats is sadly an empty cannon. The recent Supreme Court decision on ejecting an absentee MP has effectively neutered his authority to declare seats vacant. The real problem, starkly identified by the Speaker and corroborated by the Majority Leader, is the destruction economy we have created for our MPs. Their chronic absence is not due to sudden illness. It is due to their moonlighting on public sector boards. They did this, the two of them spoke about this in response to a concern I raised about the situation at the Speaker's Editors Forum on Tuesday. They, especially the Majority Leader, strongly supported my point. Why are MPs who are constitutionally mandated to oversee public entities simultaneously sitting on boards, sometimes even as chairpersons? This is not a policy gray area. It is a blatant conflict of interest. How can an MP tasked with scrutinizing the performance, budget, and operational efficiency of a public corporation perform that oversight faithfully when they sat in the boardroom that approved the very policies they are meant to investigate? The law, integrity, and common sense are all screaming foul. Yet, presidents, past and present, persist in this bad practice, turning Parliament into a waiting room for board appointments. The Majority Leader, however, seemed to suggest that civil society only finds its voice on this matter when the NDC is in power. Really? This is simply inaccurate and convenient amnesia. The CDD Ghana and others, including myself, have consistently deprecated this practice across administrations. We spoke out when President Akufo-Addo made these appointments, just as we must speak out now. The John Mahama administration that is vigorously on a, quote, reset agenda, end quote, cannot afford to justify doing wrong things by pointing to the previous regime's mistakes. Leadership is about acting differently when you know better. And the time for that reset is now. May the touted reset agenda not turn out to be the usual empty sloganeering that we are used to. Speaker Alban Bagwe seemed to suggest that this is a means to earn extra income, to make the job more attractive to professionals. This is such a weak defense. If MPs do not earn a living wage, which they do, the answer is salary reform and not the corruption of our separation of powers. But the solution to the grander problem is twofold. Stop appointing MPs onto boards right now. The president needs no legislation to stop this corrosive practice. It is an executive decision, and a matter of political will. He must end it immediately. Secondly, we must end the minister-MP compulsion. Both the Speaker and the Majority Leader agreed on the urgent need to amend the Constitution to remove the compulsion on the President to appoint up to 50% of the ministers or his ministers from among MPs. There's been widespread public support for a strict separation of powers, where an MP's primary job is in the legislature, not the executive. That must finally be heeded. If the Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh Committee and this government fail to recommend and effect this crucial constitutional change, they will have failed the people's long-standing demand for a modern and accountable democracy. There would be a huge deficit in the legacy John Mahama seeks in his second chance, second term. We must trade the absurdity of absence for the integrity of presence. Let the MP stay in the chamber and hold the executive to account, not sit with them in the boardroom and applaud bad policy. And that is my take. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. And we welcome you. This show is brought to you by the candid sponsorship of Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner, MTN everywhere you go, SHS University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way, insurance, dial *165# on MTN to join My Way today. Syntax Times is strong, it's tough. Activa International Insurance. Our clients are Pashing International Facilities Management Association. They are proud to be associated with Newsfile. And Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature. Valex Lease, that is your affordable documents management solutions. Now, our guests are seated. Let me introduce them to you as we begin the discussion. Right from my immediate left is Senyor Hosi, the bluntly speaking Senyor Hosi, convener, the One Ghana movement, and trustee of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. They have issued a statement on the back of the military and security being chased away by Galamseyers. Vera Abnado is Programs Officer, CDD Ghana. She's in charge of elections, rule of law, and anti-corruption. Of course, you know we have a matter of corruption to deal with. The Shraj report on the GRA and the procurements to 3 companies where the former Director General, Amishadai Owusu Amwa, Reverend, has been indicted. Dennis Miracle Sabwaji will join us. He's Director of Communications for the Baumia campaign. And Theophilus Jimega Jr. is lawyer, engineer, and member of the NDC National Communication Team. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for making time to join us.
Good morning.
Great, great, great. All right, so of course, we have issues with our rice. Not only rice, but, you know, cereals that we are, maize and so on. And they are getting rotten. They are sitting in the barns. They are sitting, some of them, they don't want to harvest them yet because there's no point in harvesting them. And yet those who have grown them, they are losing millions because they took bank loans, among other things. Let's listen to a couple of people who have had something to say about this. Anthony Morrison on the green glut. We also have Joshua Tuatobo, and also Dr. Ama Enin on the grain glut. Let's listen to them and come to the studio. And you will also appreciate why Senor Jose is here. He's a farmer.
So let's put this into context. During the drought, we got support from the World Bank, about $135 million. We also got some money voted by Parliament. I think you remember we were on this site. Yeah. We discussed the money that was voted to support farmers with regards to mitigation and social interventions. And all this we imported, government imported then, a lot of maize and rice to be distributed to farmers. And
to plant?
No. As a way of social protection interventions. They have lost their fields, so they needed to be supported with food.
Okay.
So we imported these grains. Now, fast forward, some livestock feed producers in the country also went to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and demanded that they should be given permits to import maize. Now, between last year and this year, we had imported close to 350,000 metric tons.
My explanation is different because what is causing this drought is not, this glut is not because of the drought last year. It's just because there is no buyer for the rice. I can tell you that from October last year up to now, as we are speaking, all the major millers of rice in Ghana have stopped milling. For the first time in 10 years, Avnash has not bought a single grain this year. Now, Avnash is one of the biggest rice millers in the country.
And why? Why haven't they bought any? Why haven't they bought any?
Yeah, why? Because when you talk to them, the reason they haven't bought is because there's no market. I mean, there's huge influx of rice browns from Asia into the market. If you go to Wale Wale now, or Bolga, or you come to Tamale and you visit the shops, thousands of different brands.
What happened was farmers produce at a certain cost. At the time they were producing, the dollar was at a certain rate. So they bought fertilizer at a certain rate. They got input seed and all of those things at a certain rate. When they were done and they harvested, then the CD started appreciating. So when that happened, then it became cheaper for people to bring in rice, foreign rice. And so people brought in cheap foreign rice. Farmers had produced at a certain cost. And so the foreign rice became cheaper, and buffer stock was also in transition. So there was a change over in government, and they weren't buying as they were supposed to. So there was quite a little bit of a murky situation at the time.
Right. So we have been doing very well in importing, rice. As the Financial Times reported sometime in February of 2023, we have spent about 6.8 billion Ghana cedis, they're approximately $560 million US in importing rice into this country. This is not different exactly from what annually we appear to be spending on this cereal. And we have continuously encouraged our farmers, local farmers. They should grow the rice, so we can be self-sufficient, produce them, here, and also finish them up here. And this is the circumstance where they find themselves. They will go rotting. They are sitting in their warehouses. And now they have to harvest again. They are not even, thinking about that because no one is buying them. Let me begin with saying, this is a major policy failure for someone like you who is directly involved in farming in rice. How bad is the situation?
It's terrible. But this is not a glass problem, so it's not a glass, clearly a policy failure, and I don't think governments take rice seriously. They just pay lip service. And I still don't see the policy direction, really, in this particular matter. And it's a very simple matter. It's a cost matter. It's a cost matter. The local rice has two issues. One, there's a behavioral issue that has to do with utility from people's taste preferences. That's one. But if you get to understand local rice, you realize it's actually tastier than all the basmatis and all that.
Correct.
It's very easy. Anytime I do blind tasting, everybody just takes the local rice, running for jollof, everything. It's the best, anytime. I'm not a rice fan, but when I taste local rice, I get stuck to it. And I think we are sort of overcoming that. The real thing is the economics of it. I'll tell you, let's just do some maths together so everybody will just sort of understand what goes on. Producing paddy today should be about 25,000 cedis for a hectare. And that should give you about 5 tons, thereabouts. So 5 tons, take your calculator, divide, that's per hectare. So 25,000 divided by 5 tons, that should bring you to 5,000 cedis a ton. Divide that by 1,000, and that gives you 5 cedis per kilo. So you add 5 cedis per kilo for paddy. Now you do 5 cedis per kilo, add 1 cedi for milling. That's 6 cedis. Now these 6 cedis, by the time you are done, you won't get 100% of it back. The recovery rate is about 0.65. So divide that by, so 6 divided by 0.65. That tells you you're going to get 9.2 cedis for a total mix of fully milled rice. Now this fully milled rice, just about 60%, that's like a best deal. So really half of it is what is a long grain that you typically will consume. All right, then the rest are heavily broken. So even let's just take this one as your base. And in all this, I'm talking about cost. There's no financial cost. There's no capex, nothing. Meaning that the variable cost you throw in is what you're just taking in. Transportation, zero. Margin, zero. I'm just telling you, pure cost matter. Right. Then you come and see what's happening on the market. Now multiply this by 50 kilos. This is 461 cedis. No capex, no transportation, no margin. Zero, nothing. No loss from carriage. Now, forget about that one at all. Nothing. This is where you are. 461 cedis for 50 kg. And this is not long grain. This is scattered thing. All right? The long grain today, which is just about 50% of this 460, one mix of a kilo, is sold today at about, for the imported ones, around 400 for those ones that compare. 400 cedis. So even at 400 cedis, getting an import at 400 cedis, your local rice production costs nothing added. All right, it's 461, and it's not even at, it's not 100%, it's not a 5% broken level. So this one, practically 40% of it is broken. Only 60% is long grain. So if you actually want to match this, then it means they are actually going to be going up in cost at around 600 cedis. In cost. So the rice today, even in the places where we have produced rice, you find more imported brands on the shelf than you find here. But this is the real cost of producing it. And this is raw, bare bone. No financial cost, no transportation, no middleman margin, nothing. This is where we are. Who is going to buy? Now, the person has produced this at 5 cedis. And zero margin. And this 5 cedis is one of the efficient, production you will see. Other than that, typically you are doing around 6 cedis a kilo. Today, people are being forced to sell at 5. And I just told you, this is not, the farmer hasn't made a margin, the producer hasn't made a margin, the miller hasn't, nobody has made a margin. So even the farmer at the farm gates deciding to sell from 6 to 1 to 5 is losing a cedi a kilo of paddy. Meanwhile, you should typically be selling it at maybe 8 thereabouts. Look at the differential you have, and I'll tell you, last year we had the dollar at 17, right? Am I right?
You're right. Almost.
Okay. So we had 11 divided by 17. Okay, so you've had a 34% recovery on the value. All right, so you have the dollar drop by about 36%. Check the other side, or 35%. Check the other side. I take fertilizer. Fertilizer used to be 420, 390 now. Now it's 390 now, and then it used to be before 420. So 390. Everybody carry your calculator. We are doing it together. I don't want anybody to say senior come say something. Divided by 420. All right, minus 1. Okay. You just have a 7% drop in the cost of fertilizer. But the dollar has dropped by 35%. The import reacts to that dollar quicker. So where are we? So the cost of imports has dropped by about 35%. The input for farmers have only dropped by 7%. The capex that I bought last year is still there. So, and all this, I've not even added capex. So the variable cost today does not make sense for you to even plant. So me, I just did test planting. I've only made for me and my wife and my children. You come to my house, you eat some. I'm not selling anything.
Oh, this year won't get rice to buy from you.
No, forget. I stopped though from last year. I knew that the policy was wrong. We did a bit more, a little last year. I was doing 1,500, almost 1,500 acres a year. And I smelt my pepper. And I realized the only way to fix this is for us to have proper policy. Our policy makers either don't know what they are doing or they are just stealing.
What will make this right?
To make it starts with policy. So I'll tell you the other bit of it, and it's all driven by the importers. They manipulate the market. When I went full haul, and I want to commend the likes of Dansaki, EcoBank, who really funded me and supported me at the time. They saw it. I started in August because there are different seasons. So the first season, maybe around August, you should be planting for the second season. You do that earlier. You probably harvest around June, July, and a bit into August, depending on your timing. But so if I really want to hit the Christmas, we are planting, we are preparing land again in August. September, we are in. Early December, we have harvested, we are milling, we are hitting the Bronya market. Paddy was 2-3. It made a lot of economic sense. I was investing a couple of $1 million in trade and also in capex. All right, building one of a very modern, mill, world class. By December, it was 6,500. And I have a fair party pricing model because even though I own the land, I do in-growing with the people in the vicinity. So they bring their labor, I don't pay them. I give them all the inputs. They work on land I have leased from the irrigating facility. And then we value it based on the market. Then you have the importers come around, buy some small 2-3 tons, and you used to redefine the price in the market. So they'll sabotage you. So your price goes up, and that becomes the cost of production, which is equal to the importers' retail price in Accra. First, I couldn't make sense out of it. Even when the dollar was recovering, it was still going up. Only for us to come and realize that this is what the importers were doing. At that point, I realized that if you don't have a way to control that thing, they'll keep messing us up every day. And the only way to match
this is what the importers. What is this that they were doing? What
they were doing was to influence your cost of production by influencing the cost of paddy. And they don't have to do too much. They have no investments. They don't own any mills. If they own mills, it's very cheap, some useless thing. And they will just come, once you are dealing with maybe 4,000 tons of paddy, they'll go next door and then double the price of their paddy for just maybe 10 tons. Or 5 tons. Then suddenly that will define the price for the entire 4,000 tons that you are carrying. Now that 4,000 tons will actually lead to it being the cost of your production when you even try and process will be his retail price. His retail price in Accra. You can never compete with that guy. So right ab initio, you are making a loss. Because whilst he has influenced your cost of paddy, he has reduced his retail price for his imported rice. Guess what happened to me? I had to suspend my staff because I was now incurring a cost of 6,500. And these same importers came back and came to buy my paddy from me. After yanking up my price to 6,500, they came back to buy it for me at 4,500 because they realized I couldn't mill and I was stranded. It was simple. So quietly, I packed myself. And I told government at the time, if you want to deal with this thing, it means you must align production with your import policy. Ideally, I'm giving you a quota to import because I want us to become self-sufficient with rice. If we are consuming 1 million metric tons of rice, for example, I'll give you maybe 100,000 ton quota for import. But it means that over the next 3-4 years, you should compensate it with production of equal. So there's a certain monetary mechanism in place. Now, if the person importing and the one producing have the same interest, because I'm importing, you not, for the lack of a better word, screw our production. You'll be fair and balanced with it. In another 4 or 5 years, we can be self-sufficient as far as rice is concerned in that matter. But now, that aside, now you come to the current situation. The current situation, besides this risk that existed, which will always be there, so you see a lot of people go in and they come out. The other bit has to do with the cost of production today. And that's why I was quite disappointed with the way that the government managed the recovery of the currency. Honestly, we definitely needed that one, but I don't think that policy was well balanced looking at the implication on local production, which comes back to hurt us in the long run. So there's a short-run look at this recovery, and there's a long-run look at it. There's a total fiasco as far as you look at the long-run one, because there are also no interventions to manage the local production shocks. So we've come down. Everybody is, hey. What has gotten cheaper is imports that have gotten cheaper. But local production has gotten worse because local production cost is still the same. The salaries that we had when the dollar was at 17, I don't see those salaries going down because dollar has gone down. So they have a number of things that still stand where they are. Our cost of funds has fairly changed. Just until recently that we actually seen maybe a downward for corporate borrowing or farmers borrowing, not government's treasury bills. Yes, they've done very well with all that, trying to deal with the macros. But how the macro relates to the micro has not been well thought through. And again, political thinking. That's why I say sometimes the thoroughness of policy is a problem in this country. We do more politicking than we do proper policy making. How are people having a 7% drop in fertilizer going to be able to match a 35% drop in the cost of imports, assuming world production is the same? Where are we buying from? We are buying from Thailand, we are buying from Vietnam. Do you know what they do in Thailand? The government assures them of the price of paddy. The price of paddy. You go there, I think it's 9,500 baht or whatever their currency is. Today, it's fixed. So they give them different incentives to make sure that the cost to the farmer is always protected. Today, what are we getting from Ghana? Government has said buffer stock something. I think they are giving us about, 625 cedis a bag, all right? Okay. So if you are going to match that quality to a certain point, maybe you get to around 550 cedis or 600 cedis your cost. Now, how do you recover your capex? How do you recover your financing cost? The price that has been set, I'm going to come to something else in there, is not viable. It is better than maybe you may have now, but you're still making a loss anyway. Then this other part, go and give buffer stock the food, the produce. You stay for 1 year, your money hasn't come. You must not go and lie on the floor. So it's either we are not serious about agriculture, or we are just intellectually bankrupt, morally bankrupt to want to fix what is the easiest win in our country, agriculture. Agriculture is the one transformative policy that can be achieved effectively within a single electoral cycle. If your brain is right and you have proper people around you, you can actually make Ghana rice self-sufficient within a space of 5 years, maximum 6. Most of it will be realized during your one-term cycle. Okay. But there's a problem. I don't know. It's as if we didn't go to school. I don't know how we will explain this kind of thing. So those farmers, they are selling today at a loss. They are selling at a loss. The paddy is at a loss. The rice itself, trying to get it off the shelf, is not happening. It's not a glut. It's a policy problem. It's not as though we've overproduced in Ghana. We haven't overproduced. We're importing over 1 million tons. And if, look, go to Agri, they don't even know how much local production is. They don't know. They should speak the truth. The data, they don't have it. I was one of the major producers. Nobody came to ask me exactly how much I was doing in that district. Nobody. Nobody. Come and calculate what's your mill capacity. Your mill capacity is maybe 5 tons an hour, 10 tons an hour, multiplied by 8. Then they assume that you are producing the whole year. Then come and tell Ghana, please, they should stop all these things they are talking about. Avnas is not one of the, it is the largest. Unless something has changed. 20 ton per metric, 20 ton per hour mill. Look at what's happening there. And it's in Tamale. And they've added another one there. So why is Avnas not buying a single grain? Why? Avnas is produces parboiled because of the nature of the northern grain. They don't harvest early, again because of equipment. And you know that place is warmer. So it dries quickly. So when you mill it, the recovery of you may still get maybe your 60 or 65%. But the value is in the longer grain. The longer grain portion will be just so low.
Okay, you catch a breather and let me move on to. So I'm not. Excuse me, and Dennis, welcome.
Thank you.
Just what is wrong with us? About 3 years ago, I interviewed Abraham Odum. Okay. He's a Ghanaian. He did something. I think he was one of the. Was either a DC or something in the Kufuor regime and so on. He was in Nigeria and they used him very well. Yeah. Nigeria reduced its rice import by more than half because he was leading the agricultural revolution in rice in Nigeria to make them self-sufficient. Yeah. We are talking about jobs, alternative jobs for Galamseyers, people who feel there's no job, they must do Galamsey. Yeah. Manasseh writes a piece and says, President Mahama can give a legacy. His father was into rice farming. He himself is also into this farming. And yet, these leaders can't seem to have a clue as to how to correct this imbalance. We're spending over almost 7 billion to import rice. Yeah. When our farmers here can do that, and even when they do just a bit of it, we allow it to rot. Yeah. Fertilizer is expensive, everything is expensive, the road network from which they will transport is terrible. Yeah. What's wrong with us?
We are just not serious, like Sayo said. And if you're a farmer's daughter like me, growing up in a farming community, we even saw farming as a punishment. We don't even want to go to farming because my dad would say, oh, if you want to move forward from this village, you better go to school. So in my mind, I go to school and farming is for the others until you get to that stage where you realize, okay, farming is not just for my fathers and mothers. We could equally do it. And we haven't even changed that much. My nephew, my mother takes my nephew to the farm and they're all crying. They don't want to go to the farm because it's still seen as a punishment for the younger ones. And young people don't want to go into farming. I just heard him say he stopped farming. We can't build a nation like that. And it is also not a production issue like
you put so much money in it and he was running at a loss. Yes. The banks will come after you. Yeah. Like these people are complaining now that the banks are after them. They took loans.
Yeah. And
I had to sell off a lot of my assets just to cover millions of dollars of my exposure.
And we are a country that consumes a lot of rice. So even with what we are producing, it's not up to what the nation's capacity. I think what we are producing is just about 30%.
It's not true. I'm not sure we are doing 20%. Yeah. You know, let's get. It's not true. I've told you that people just come and calculate what capacity you have, and then they'll come and tell that's what you have.
Okay,
you're not producing.
Continue.
Nobody has proper
I'll tell you. My shock, when they were complaining about this glut situation, it's like an annual situation. When it gets into December, then they come to tell us about it. Yes. And I engaged the people who were in charge and also in the associations. And I learned that even the poultry we consume in this country.
Right.
We don't produce 1% of it. If you check the official record, they say we produce about 3% of it. Yeah. But the people who were at the forefront sat in this studio and said we don't produce 1% of the poultry we consume.
Even the old chicken, we import them from Holland. We don't even have. So I think that, so national buffer stock was set up. I think the mandate is to buy. In fact, if you read their own mandate, they say to anticipate, they are going to anticipate increase in production. Buffer, so they are set up to buy when there's bumper harvest and then they buy. But now I think their main focus, they've turned themselves into buying for the free SHS program, and so they are not concentrating on that. And it's a food security issue. Samson, just last year, the Minister of Agri said we had to import rice because there was drought. Like within just a year, now we have more rice that we can't even, we should buy this rice. So for me, I think that if buffer stock can actually concentrate on its mandates, restructure it, I think the issue with stocking up with free SHS food and other things, maybe another conversation we can look at. But if we can have buffer stock to really get this, and as a country, we can't say this rice is going.
To you, one problem they are complaining about is that when the government has instructed that buffer stocks should buy from them, the price at which they are buying is like, we know you don't have a market. You either give it to us or they rot. So they buy it at a very low price.
Now they've shifted their attention more on the free SHS.
And when you buy it, they won't pay you 1 year, and you are still waiting for your money.
So the attention is more on the free SHS food. And if we can just take that away from them, then they can concentrate on it. We can have a conversation with them. How do you buy it? How do you need resources to buy the production at a good price? In fact, another point is to have them provide security for farmers. And so they are to serve the interests of the farmers, the interests of the country as part of the food security agenda. So if we can have this go out and then all their need, in fact, to even do that, all their warehouses, I'm not sure if they want to buy it now, if they have warehouses for all their warehouses are being stacked with free SHS food. Now it's centralized. The schools are not even buying or purchasing their own food. So maybe we can take that from them, let them concentrate on. Then we can talk about even buying, the price at which, and then paying farmers as well. Because the way we treat farmers is really terrible. I go home and my mother brings, he said, oh, why? She's excited. She brought pepper that, oh, at this time I tried to do pepper, and I'm like, how much are you going to sell this? It's like 80 days. I'm like, huh? You want to sell all of this for 8 cedis? You go up and down, and just a cup of this is 8 cedis. Sometimes we even want to tell her to stop farming, so that we just give her them, because she gets money, she wants to buy this, she's investing everything into the family, and nothing comes out. We are like, we haven't seen you bring anything. We are still taking from us. So we are not doing, and with this, you think I want to stop what I'm doing to go and enjoy my mother. So that is a real challenge that we need to fix as part of the employment issues, as part of food security, because we can't continue like this. That is what buffer stock was set up, and we need them to really work on their mandate. And for me, my second point, Samson, is that the cost of production, the farmers spoke about it. Access to credit. Sometimes what government will do is our free fertilizer distribution, seedlings distribution. I think that is easy for government to do. We hear more of that. But the cost, our farmers are not competitive in the market.
When the government introduces fertilizer into this country, it gets smuggled.
Yes.
These days, have you been hearing what the political parties have been talking about, how the fertilizer that was supposed to go to the farmers was being handled? The MPs were the ones supposed to take charge of them and lead their distribution. And the party people are crying that the fertilizer was either distributed in a certain way, or some MPs were hoarding them and they didn't give them out because they wanted to sell them, and so on.
Yeah. So for me,
we're crazy.
Yes, we have to be serious with agriculture.
So greedy, wicked.
We already have.
Our former agriculture minister said he saw it on the donkey going, and he cannot talk to the donkey.
He saw the fertilizer on the donkey. I didn't hear that.
They smuggled them out.
He said they were on donkeys. There were donkeys leaving, crossing the border into Burkina Faso. And he just saw it. He couldn't do anything because he can't talk to the donkey.
Okay, so, so just to say that I think we have to be serious with this, and we don't have to let this even move beyond. It shouldn't have been an issue if buffer stock is doing what they are supposed or set up to do, and we should, I think by a close of this month.
According to the Attorney General, the people who run the buffer stock,
yeah,
they are richer than the buffer stock many times.
And you know that they are not set up to do that business. That's why there are lots of scandal going there. That is not their mandate. That is not what they are supposed to do. But now they've turned this whole thing about procurement and giving the contract. They are buying school feeding. That is not the mandate of buffer stock. They came in as a measure, an emergency measure to hold, to be a transit for distribution to the various schools. Now we have seen some level of stability in the free estate. It was new. All of us needed to come together to look at how do we make this work. Now it has stabilized. Can we get the schools handle their own distributions and buying so that buffer stock can concentrate on food security and also security for our farmers? We can't just leave things like this.
Theophilus, you are preaching, your government is preaching and kokon kitinkiti and all of that. I really pray that it doesn't end up in the normal sloganeering that we are familiar with with the political parties and their policies. What do you know that the government is doing about this situation? Because you're talking about 24-hour economy. What you mean by 24-hour economy is that there should be enough jobs for people. There are jobs in these areas. If the rice is not bought, there will not be jobs. People will not go in there. You know, Galamsey, we are looking for alternative, livelihood for the people.
Well, to take a leaf from what Senyo said, the first thing is behavioral, about what we want to eat. I mean, even if you take all our local rice and give to free SHS or school feeding, whether they would like to use that is another thing.
Have you ever made a choice as a student as to eat at a place?
No.
That is why you have the capacity as government to drive and manage that demand problem.
Okay. So that the first one is the behavioral. And you see, there had been some times, Senyo mentioned, when we had the LI 2432, about import or export of grains in this country. That is still in place. However, having placed a ban on the export, we are importing. And we import a lot as compared to previously. So my understanding is that there is discussion ongoing for a bit of relaxation of the LI 2432 so as to allow our people to start to export some of the grains they produce. The other thing is that, as Senyo mentioned, the effect of having the stronger cedi is also making it that people shift to import more because it becomes more of an incentive to import. And that has been one of the things that the Bank of Ghana is working on. And to that extent, for long term, World Food Program, I understand, is talking to the Ministry of Agric, is talking to World Food Program to see if we can have the sort of meals that produce the perfumed ones. So that
we have them, Fonye.
Yes.
We have them. The World Food Program matters. Has it got anything to do with this?
Senyo,
I put up a mill. I have a 3,000-ton silo.
Senyo, let me count that.
That thing is sitting there. You run your machine twice in a year.
Senyo, I'll come to that.
2 months in a year, and we are talking about capital. That's not the problem.
Right. Senyo, you agree with me that this has been a systemic structural thing for a long time.
I agree, but you are in government.
Yes, that is why we are going with
the next person by you. I'm waiting for him.
Let's finish it.
Senyo, that's why we are going for all the conversations to see that we are able to solve this for long term, so that we don't have a piecemeal situation. Yes, Vera mentioned the idea about the use of buffer stock for free SHS, etc. Currently, what they are doing is that they are looking for patient funding. Those who want to go in and buy the rice from the farmers, mindful of the fact that we don't have money now to pay. And as well, you would have been aware that the president has directed that they release 100 million Ghana cedis, much as that is small, so as to purchase some of these from the farmers. So there is talk ongoing, but the bigger thing is the bottom line, the systemic and the structural thing that has pervaded for a long time. That is what we need to address. And that is what the Ministry of Food and Buffer Stock are working on, to get that solved. If we are able to have proper storage facilities, we are able to work on. Senyo, please.
I'm holding him.
Okay. Yes. And another thing is the import discipline, which you sort of talk about. We need to work on our importation of rice. And if we're able to put all this into proper perspective, Senyo, we'll be able to reduce rice importation and feed ourselves using our local rice. That is what is ongoing at the moment.
You sound like my JSS teacher, a great teacher. He said these things to us.
Because Samson, I grew up farming. Yeah. I grew up farming, so I understand some of the things that are ongoing. And again, you see, much as we spend so much to farm, we don't get so much when we sell. And it's because you're even walking now, you see shops, American rice, Chinese rice, and people want to troop to that instead of the local one. The first one is the behavioral. Yes, I agree with you.
I'll tell you something. Right now, look at the price of what we call the wache rice, the imported one. It's around $290.
It's cheap.
I'm telling you, the cost of your production, without any margin, without even transportation, distribution cost, nothing, is around 460
plus.
Yeah. You understand?
Yeah.
How can you match that one? So the consumers are rational. Even when you say it tastes better, and they get to agree that it tastes better, and the one produced here is what, over 50%
more expensive.
Why should the person go and buy that one?
So is the cheapness that has driven the taste?
Yes,
that drives the taste.
Not necessarily.
I because if I can buy that for like 200, as he says, instead of going to buy for 460,
not necessarily.
I will continue to buy the less expensive one, and I'll get used to that one.
It's only the bougie people who are looking for basmati, which is a tasteless rice. You are disgraced chasing basmati. I'm telling you, the average Joe who you are looking at, the guy is seeing a price of 219 cedis for a 50 kg wache level rice. That's what he would live with. How much is our own?
Senor, let me come here to what Samson has just said. The other bit is, as I said, the government is working with the farmers, the Chamber of Agri-Business, and you interviewed one of them on what needs to be done to correct some of this price differential. Yes, I agree. It is not necessarily the taste that is price that is driving the taste. Sometimes price can be inelastic. Yeah, you have 2 cedis today, you are eating kokunte. Tomorrow you have 4 cedis. Instead of eating more kokunte, you decide to eat jollof rice. So it is not necessarily the taste that is driving the price, but the things that I have itemized that you said your Greek teacher has said. But Senor, the long term is the talking that is going on with WFP and the World Bank. Again, the policies, some which were introduced the last time. I don't want us to appear political in this.
I'm waiting for the two of you.
No, we don't have to say, hold on. No, we don't have to appear political.
If you keep mentioning his name, he will reply.
Okay, Senor, I will mention. We don't have to appear. I don't have to appear political with this. Yes, there were decisions that were taken the last time. We need to correct them. I give an example of the LI 2432 about the ban on the export. Yet we gave permits for people to import more.
By somebody who wants to run for president. Carry on.
Okay, Samson. So basically, if we are able to get flexibility along this LI and get some of this removed, and we are also able to export, the Burkinabes even are no more buying from us. And if they want to buy it to be a smuggle, and they don't want to do smuggling. So some of this happened. And also, of course, we had drought last time. And we also have, for a long time of the areas, we only have one harvesting season. So they harvest one. We don't have the one they harvest all across year. So what they are doing now is, if they get the patient funding and people who are interested in buying, then they want to spread it across. They don't just go to Tamale, they go to Apifia, they go to Akachi to buy across. That way they are able to spread the little amount they have among all the farmers. Then the prices can be stable.
That policy is wrong. That one has
so hold on. Still hold on. Yes. So Dennis, as we have come to know it, almost every political leader knows that agric is a potent force to change the destiny of this country. So why are we here?
Let me just, before I even come to that one, you want to smuggle me into a space that you've allowed others to go around first. So I heard Mr. President make a point about policy failure, and so I started reading if there is a policy. I wanted to find where the policy is first. Because then I knew that if there is a policy, then I can interrogate and see whether it's failed. But then I realized there is no policy. But you see, this is the cost you pay when you artificially manipulate your currency. You see, economics, the way it works, you can't fake yourself around it. It will bite you at the bottom. And that's where we are.
Explain what you're...
He made the point. He explained it already so that I can preserve my time well. that when people wake up one day, people who have gone to buy agric inputs at a certain cost, and they've put it in the ground, and they are waiting. They are only tendering the tin and waiting for it to get to harvest. Then just a few weeks to harvest, the currency, based on which they bought the input, drops by 30-something%. Then those who don't plant, they just go and buy that currency for free at that cheaper cost and go and bring additional rice. What's going to happen to the farmer? And we kept saying it, and we've been saying it, that we understand that the dollar thing is fanciful, it's beautiful, politically it's nice. But if you continue to treat it this way, several other real sectors of your economy will suffer.
This is not happening the first time.
No, I'm just saying.
As long as I have been host of this show, over a decade, it's an annual ritual.
Yeah, that's why we are here. That's why we voted all those people out, and there's a new one. So let's deal with them. All those people don't matter. They are not. We don't care about them. They are gone.
My point is that the currency manipulation you raise may not be the issue.
So that's why when you came, you told us that you won't do that. You give us a sustainable currency. If you're not giving it, we'll tell you. Because you are doing what the previous people did. Why are you here? You're wasting our time. Let me come back to my issue. So you see, exporters are suffering because of this same currency manipulation. Their buyers are stopping the purchase of Ghanaian export products because they used to spend, let's say, $1 to buy from us. They wake up one night, they need $3 to buy the same thing. I'm just saying, but the thing can move from 14.5 to 10 within 6 weeks. You know, so now they turn around and they go to Rwanda, they go to other places to go and buy. That is one end of it. And when the export is suffering, you know the implications. People are losing jobs. You are even going to mount more pressure on your currency and look for more money to manage it because you're not getting any coming in. This farmer situation is just one of the sectors who are silently dying as a result of the currency manipulation. There's no doubt about that. You can't work your way around it. And I keep asking myself, who are the real beneficiaries of this fanciful policy of pumping money to artificially keep our currency at a certain point? The business people, the rich people. Because Samson, go and take every single product from January till now and tell me how many of them have seen price reduction. For which reason we say that, oh, you brought our currency from 14 to 10. As a result of that, the pen that I used to buy for 1 cedi is now 70 pesos. Hooray.
Prices have dropped.
Oh, please. That's what I'm saying. Give me the how many. I was careful. You and I, you know you trained me. So I was careful with the choice. I said, how many? If you go to the housing sector, the construction sector, you can pick only 2 items. All the rest are going up. You know why? Because you, Mr. President, you know that when you go and buy dollar at 11.5, which is actually what the banks are selling it on, not 10, 11.5, and you go and import from China, you would never use 11.5 to do your pricing. You use 13. You know why? Because you are not sure whether by the time you are done selling the items you brought to Ghana, the dollar will still be at 11.5 or will be at 13. Because we're here in this country. When dollar moved from 14.5 on January 7th, dramatically, to 10.4 within 3 months. Then within 5 weeks, it moved from 10.4 to another 13. So no businessman in Ghana is actually using the exchange rates that the Bank of Ghana is quoting to trade. In fact, Council, do you know what is happening? The businessmen and the rich people are the only beneficiaries of the exchange rate manipulation because it is not passed on to the consumers. They go and buy it cheap when it comes plenty like we are doing now. Then they go and import and they keep it at a certain rate. That for me is something that we cannot pretend to gloss over. We can continue, but every month, every quarter, another sector like we are seeing with the rice will come up. Now, how do we deal with this? My view is simple. My view is that when I look at the figures, as for the data from the government institutions, me, I'm with Senor on it. It's all lies. Governments have no data. We don't have data. I'm telling you, we don't have accurate. And when I say no data, I mean accurate data.
Yeah.
We cannot even tell you in accuracy how many houses we even have in the country in the first place. In accuracy, I've been a DCE before. I know what I'm talking about. We can't tell you in accuracy how many houses we have. In fact, when we even start doing the counting, by the time we are done, there's been more development behind us. By the time we are coming to run the analytics.
Because it takes so long to...
So long, because of the systems and the processes, that is one. Now, they tell you that, agree, when I read those things and you see World Bank will come and pick some data from us and they are saying metric tons. Which metric tons? Who is measuring what? Who is talking about? How are they getting that data?
I was prosecuting just in my district. Nobody walked up to ask me who. I don't know at the time who even had any kind of infrastructure as I had done. In fact, my project was the only project before MPP Nanado one. When it came to the water region, it was the only thing that the regional minister to come and show. We were a private funded thing. Government did not fund it. It was purely funded by me. Where you come? Who bet who funds? Who bet who funds? You didn't support the
government enabling environment.
Who bet who funds? You didn't support it. But I'm just saying, nobody walked up to us to ask us what is our production level. For me to tell you that this is my outturn for the period, for the season, nothing. All through to date, nobody's come to ask.
So the fact is that we don't actually have the real data. But we can work with projections. That is also allowed. In the absence of anything, we can work with some projections.
What do you see or have known or identified, particularly that you are working with a campaign team for the former vice president, as what needs to be done about this sector?
We need to finish. You see, we need to stop pretending and admit that the fundamentals of our economy, which we need to set as a base, is not there. And that includes data. And not just data in hard copy like we do even when I went to a campaign not as MC. You know why our property rate data is? Excel. Excel is, Excel is not a data. Excel is manual. Let me put it that way. Excel is actually manual. If you want Excel to speak to data, you have to do some pivoting, do some manipulation. But the Excel as it was just columns. Serial number, name of property owner, then the property, then how much you should pay. That's how we had our data.
Easy to miss, easy to
The point is that until we spend time to really build our databases across sector, identifying farmers and identifying them by their GPS locations and getting them to input. And when we say input, not the one that every time we hire temporary people that go and work and report to. We need farmers to be able to update us real time on their farms. How many more acreages they've added. You come to my farm. I have started farming. I've done 2 acres. You come and report and go. Next week I add another 2 acres. You don't have that data. And you are planning with the 2 acres. So it is fundamentally data. It is an issue of us admitting that we need to digitalize our economy. Now, moving forward, we have rice ready. You see, whether we like it or not, government has a huge responsibility to ensure that whenever we are campaigning or running advocacy for local consumption, we back it with our strength. How many secondary schools do we have in Ghana? You know gas. Gas. Even gas we eat. The rice that they serve us, then when they give us a stew that looks like soup, everything was separate. That's what we all ate. We enjoyed it. So why is it that government doesn't have a legislation, policy, whatever you call it, that makes it mandatory for every secondary school? It is without choice. Every secondary school, you need to consume only locally produced rice. Hospitals. All these hospitals, when the patients are admission, we feed them. Our prisons, we feed them. There are several touch points. Training colleges, several touch points. Nursing colleges, several touch points where we are consuming rice. Where government is actually buying rice.
That's right.
Remember,
that's right.
Government is the one buying the rice. Now, I hear he made a very important point. We may not be able to have warehouses, but who says government is the one supposed to go and buy and hoard? When we wanted to buy gold, what did we do? We carry money and give to private people to go and buy the gold and bring to us. So why? You are buying the rice anyway. If you think that it is a sector that is very, very, very much of importance to you, then that is not an excuse.
Okay.
Don't build warehouses to hoard it yourself.
Just a quick
What you need to do, and this one is not me being miracles and going after NDC. No, this is not an NDC business. This is a whole state failure, which we need to find a way to fix.
Correct. Okay.
My view is that the same way government is able to carry money, but that one is NDC. Because if they've been able to carry money and give to gold buyers, physical cash, to go and buy gold and bring to government, then you should be able to carry money to give to private people to go and buy the rice, aggregate them, keep them somewhere. Then as and when your Bezos and your matrons in hospitals and schools need them, they go and also buy it and then go and cook. If you do that, you are guaranteeing the farmer a certain price and a certain buyer. In that case, two things will happen. They will not have a situation where we are having now where the rice is stuck. And then two, the motivation by private sector to go and import so much, knowing very well that buffer stock will buy, would also be low. Go to the buffer stock warehouses. You see plenty imported rices.
That's true.
That has been brought into the country.
That is true.
You understand what I'm saying? This is something that government could have bought. So if government is buying even 70% of the rice we have on the market now, the local ones that are stuck, if government alone is buying 70%, it won't go waste. The secondary schools will consume, the prisons will consume, the hospitals will consume, the training colleges will consume. Then at least these people would
the
have
foreign rice they buy is cheaper.
Who is buying it cheaper?
Because
the government.
About you, who caused it? You reduce the currency by 35% artificially for him.
No, the miracles.
No, I agree. I'm not saying. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
Yes, I thought
that is why I said that. Whilst you see, government, you don't look at things in one line. Once you knew,
all of you have been
once you forget about it, we don't exist. You see, we don't exist. That argument, when it comes,
I agree with you.
Then get out, bring us, and accuse us. You understand what I'm saying? But so long as we are not in government, everything you say about us is moot. If you were coming into office to do the same thing, so let me land. Let me finish my point.
No, let me quickly interrupt you before you land.
Let me land. My point is that if you know that you have a policy of keeping your currency at a certain level, for which reason you do artificial injections, you must be mindful of the implications on the other side. The other cost that you will have to bear is to cushion your local producers. If it means buying their goods at a certain higher price, that is your cost of taking a decision on the other side. Every economic policy decision has a cost. And you must be ready to cushion them and seeing that as your cost to bear, if that is what you want to do. Otherwise, you know what you have to do? Leave the economy. Invest in the real sectors. Make sure that you give them time to be able to balance out very well. And that means that you support the rice sector. Let them be able to have the capacity, produce the kind of rice that your citizens want. Then they will have so much in the market that they can compete with importers. That would reduce the importers' search of dollar to go and buy more rice, and it will bring your dollar down. But if you decide not to go down that serious route, but it just pumps dollar into the system to manage your currency, then maybe you must be ready to bear the cost of buying your local producers' rice at a certain price.
So, Samson, let me just quickly add. I mean, it was so convenient for you to swerve the fact that...
I just wanted to read some...
It's not convenient.
Just a bit of a couple of lines from this piece that Manasseh wrote about where he is in the USA. You know, Manasseh has been in the US, he's teaching. And he says that where I am currently, I realize that this rural state has nothing significant to boast about apart from its vast and seemingly barren land, bereft of the trees and lush vegetation we have in Ghana. The state has no gold, no oil, no diamonds, or any of the many natural resources Ghana is glutted with. It is a dry, bare land which is unfarmable in a greater part of the year, from fall to winter. But with a population of less than 2 million, please note that, a population of less than 2 million, Nebraska has a GDP that is almost twice the GDP of Ghana. And what is causing this GDP? It says the state boasts of feeding the world. It is noted for large-scale commercial farming, especially maize, soybean, and livestock. It says his university football team is called something. Research in agriculture is a priority. The cattle population in Nebraska is about 4 times the state's human population. 4 times the human population there. You know, and the state guarantees them a price.
I said it.
We know this is the same everywhere where they are doing well with the agricultural products.
I said
the state guarantees them a price and is actively involved in making sure that they produce.
Samson, I was going to respond briefly to my brother here about the. No. We have been told over the last 8 years about digitalization and data. Which one were we talking about today? You said we never have data. So, as I said, yes, we have been told about data for the last. We should focus on data for the last 8 years. Which one are we talking about now?
Why?
You also mentioned about
there's a problem. Yes. Which is not solved.
He
shouldn't proffer solutions.
No, he's proffering, but what I said,
as I said, were not
Samson, I admitted initially that this is not a political, like NDC, MPP.
You said it's not political.
I made several points. One of
them sorry. It's not NDC, MPP issue. It is a national issue that we must tackle head on. Now, for example, if you are talking about the high exchange rate that we had previously, we don't produce largely for export. We produce largely for local consumption. Now, if the farmers import using the very high exchange rate, they'll pass it on to the consumer. And now if we have lower rates, how can they pass that on to the consumer? The problems we have is not just as a result of the last 6-7 months currency issue. That is what is producing this at the moment. That is currency manipulation that is causing us this.
But that's a fact you cannot negate.
Yes, we cannot negate it, but it is not largely due to just the exchange rate that has become stronger. That is where we are today. It cannot just...
the thing there? It is like
please proceed, because I told him, I reminded him that as far as I have been sitting here, this is an annual ritual.
Good.
It is largely part.
Look,
not entirely.
It is not. Okay.
All right. So
largely, we're talking. Let's move on. It is not. We have discussed. All right. You mentioned a lot of things. I've also added, and others here have added. It is not largely due to currency manipulation, as you like to put it.
Thank you. Okay. So we would like to end it here.
No, I beg you. Yes, I beg you. Some data we need to get. The SOFI report, State of Food Insecurity report. They've changed it, but I still call SOFI. So it was released recently. We have currently 50 million of our fellow citizens. That's about 45% or more of our fellow citizens who are food insecure. Let's get it clear. That number used to be 11 million in 2016. We have had FASDEP 1, FASDEP 2, PFJ 1, PFJ 2. Where are we? And now we have FGP, Feed Ghana Program. Samson, let's call out the politicians. We are tired of the sloganeering. Because if all these policies were actually working, we should actually see a proper improvement in these factors. That increase, think about it, it's over 40%. 11 to what? It's about 40%, I mean slightly lower, to 15 million.
The farmers are going to boycott the Farmers' Day
population increase
to make their point.
I agree. There's nothing to celebrate. And let me give you what's even worse. This is actually what you call a moderate to
I need us to take a break here.
Heavily insecure. The ones that is most desperate is that we've moved from 1.5 million people who hardly get access to food or can manage or access food to 3.2 million, 113% increase. So this politics talk and sloganeering is taking us nowhere. So we have not had a constructive policy that has had a real impact in this country.
As the farmers threaten to boycott the National Farmers' Day, it should not just be that symbolism. The president and the republic must respond. They have asked buffer stock to buy, but buying at a price that makes them to still, lose.
Currency manipulation.
The state needs to take concerted efforts that will resolve this problem and give us rice sufficiency, maize sufficiency, soya bean sufficiency, that this country will be proud of itself in that regard. We take a quick break. When we return, we want to ask the question, are we really fighting Galamsey? Do we not think that we have gotten to a point where those involved in Galamsey, the way they are fighting the state's armed forces, something else have to be done? They have chased the front of Galamsey fights, NAIMOS, chased them out of a town. They almost killed the leader and his people. He says he was saved by the mercies of God. The EPA boss, Professor Kluche, says they got to a point they were checking, trying to invite them to have a conversation with them. They were called by national security and told that they needed to move from the place immediately because their lives were at stake. And even in moving away from the place, they don't have to return using the same route they came to that place in Obuasi. They had to flee, got into an accident, and some journalists are in hospital as we speak. There were armed military guards with the professor. They had to beat a retreat. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, as always, we put Ghana first. And my guests you have been listening to, Senya Hosi, Vera Abna Ado, Dennis Miracles Abuaji, and Theophilos Jomega Jr. Now, let's go to Shidiem and go to somewhere in Obuasi. But NAIMOS, in the last 3 days or so, has been on a rampage in the western, in the eastern, and they are just, you know, doing a great job there. Unfortunately, the solutions to the problem all still seem a bit, you know, distant. In our earlier discussion, Emmanuel J. Bequin says that Senor is right. Let's not deceive ourselves by accepting the narrative of a glut. There is no rice glut in Ghana. Let it make sense why ports are still open for rice in a country crying over so-called glut. Perhaps what we are experiencing is a poor leadership glut. Okay, the ports are opened and rice is just, you know, flowing in, and we are talking about glut. Vladimir Protein says the spokesperson for the data and digital man says there is no data generated in Agric. We already knew they were telling lies anyway. But suddenly he has solutions on buffer stock and free SHS, which he didn't implement for 8 years. Miracles. He is indeed. Interesting comments there. Professor Bar says that one may not like Miracles' approach in his political discourse, but what he's saying about the exchange rate issue is true. I have been shouting about the swing of the exchange rate, but it doesn't appear to be looked at. Exchange rate movement must be organic and not manipulated. Okay, so this is from a professor who has been talking about this for a while. So if even they are talking and they are not being listened to, this is serious. We must do something about this. Interesting. From Enchibwe Siako, he says, actually, taste has been overused as a reason for buying foreign rice. Rice, like most carbohydrates, doesn't have any taste at all on its own. It is the stew or soup or whatever you add to your rice that makes it tasty. Perfume or anything added is just pure marketing gimmick. Ghanaians have been sold such nonsense at the expense of our economic development. Interesting comments there. I'll read just one or two more and then we'll proceed. Papa Bisu, that's a very long one. If you're shorting it, it makes it easy to read. It says that, okay, the Nigerian oil bandits example, or drug bandits in other world, seems to be creeping in, and that's dangerous. You are talking about Galamsey. We'll talk about that shortly. And then this one says, we need a Westminster type of democracy. It humbles leaders as PM's question time, and citizens are always informed of issues because of open debate. Every minister has a shadow minister on the opposition side. Imagine Akufo-Addo and John Mahama facing off in Parliament. The presidential system is too open to abuse. Look at what happened just 8 years ago. This current system is simply not working. We either change, or change will be forced on us one day. Okay, so I suppose that's a comment in respect of Samson's take, where I say it's conflict of interest, is blatant, and it's corruption. And I made a point of correction, a point of corruption that we need to deal with, that we know. If you make the ministers, you pick them from Parliament, you give them double work, they won't work in Parliament. It's as simple as that. If you give them seats on boards, I remember as far back as 2022, Clara was here talking about it. CDD has been talking about it. They don't listen. They put them on boards and make them chairpersons of boards, and they're supposed to oversight the same boards. It won't work, okay? That's why you keep crying. They don't come to the House. Look at the NDC, super majority, but they can't marshal how many? Just a handful to make a quorum to start proceedings in the House. This is very, very bad, and the presidents continue to do it. You don't know what's going on with our presidents and the way they think. What is it? They are MP. Let them be MP. Then you still force and make them on boards. We know as for ministers, it is the Constitution that compels you. Anyway, so as we have it, the Galamseyers appear to have more power than the military that we arm. So just listen to a few of the developments and watch some of these as we ask the question whether we are indeed fighting Galamsey.
Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Watch out, watch out.
Make this point. But if you also look at the numbers of sophisticated guns, it tells you that they are now prepared to fight the state, defend their illegal work. And the picture that we saw when soldiers ran away from mob, it encourages others to strike a blow at the state. We are at the verge of losing control of this republic.
If the story is true, I'm not sure it's even a call to arrest the security agencies should take their course, because usually if it is the ordinary people, the boys in the pit, they arrest them. You know, so if really it comes out that we now is seeing those allegedly behind the campaigns, behind, then they should be. Else we are not serious with this whole fight, so-called fight. So it's not even a call. If it is true, if it comes out that this is true, that a member of parliament is behind this, and it shouldn't be just an arrest. I think the whole right to be in parliament should also be called into question, because there are qualifications of being a member of parliament. And really, this is a sabotage to the whole, our national economy and psyche as a people. Galamsey is the most existential threat to our being as Ghanaians.
Well, I mean, everybody is innocent until proven guilty, but while the report was made, the police should have come and we can help the police in the investigation. In the meantime, the Speaker of Parliament should call the suspension because it's bringing Parliament into disrepute.
But what does this mean? What does this mean for the fight against Galamsey?
Well, it just means that the reason why it's not going anywhere is what happened in the past. Both political parties, there are persons close to them who are involved. In the past administration, there are persons like Akunta Mining and all those names in Professor Don Boateng's report. The fight wasn't going anywhere because those involved were making sure it didn't go anywhere. They are playing musical chairs. It's happening with this regime as well. Even as I speak in that country, there are 4 excavators there right now. It has been reported that nothing has happened yet.
That there are big fishes behind frustrating the efforts of those who are fighting illegal mining. NAIMOS may not speak to you, but behind the scenes, they are frustrated because they conduct an operation and you have all manner of people like the ones who showed up, MPs, ministers, calling and demanding that equipment are released. At the local level, I've had a chance to talk about people who are now going after seized excavators. The excavators that the IGP's men seized. People are now going behind the scenes and getting them back into the Galamsey field.
Say,
did you see them beating the police, the soldier man?
There's a guy who hit him at the back. Pum! After hitting him, he went to the front, to the door.
Yeah.
We were trying to prevent the soldiers from entering the car. And this is supposed to be the
police station,
the chief imam who provided this vehicle for their rescue.
And even that one, they broke
the
rest screen.
Yeah. So that's the chief imam that the police, that's a Zongo chief. That's a Zongo chief that the police have been thanking for his intervention.
Hey! Your Excellency, I don't know. This should tell you where we are. I don't know what he's waiting for. There was a reason why we suggested the state of emergency. Because we realize how desperate...
Professor Anyenini says they are overcoming the state.
They are not overcoming. They have overcome the state. The view of this alone is evidence of that. All that is left is coordination amongst them. And they will own a part of the country. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will be a president of Ghana that now will be with some other people. Only GHA will be with him. The NA will be with another people. That is where we are getting to. No, can you imagine civil society? We don't like this, the state of emergency, because we know how far-reaching it could be abused.
Yeah.
So if civil society gets to the point where they are willing to even sit by and have you exercise this, it tells you that we're in a desperate situation. My heart breaks. And it pains me. And unfortunately, miracles, I will go back. It gets worse, and it gets worse exponentially. Last year, when we were talking about the stability that got all of us screaming, we were talking about 14,500.
Yeah.
It took us how many years to get to 14,500? Almost 8 years for us to be able to get that. But guess where we went to? 94,800 in 1 year. I tell you, it gets exponential. This country, save for Rawlings and maybe Nkrumah, hasn't seen a more powerful president than Nana-Addo. It's sad I always go back and mention because he's our biggest missed opportunity in this matter. And if John Mahama will sit back after all that we have done and watch us get this far, we are hopeless, and to be the biggest embarrassment to his name and anybody carrying that name. Honestly, We are losing the state. No, the last time one of the times we were discussing this year, what's his name? Professor Anyenini. He asked him a question. I asked you to ask him a question, and you obliged me. He was struggling to answer. Today he's answering it. Prof, come again. You're answering it today. When we saw those boys, you said it's not everything. You don't want to scare the public. What are we doing now? We have to be honest about what is happening. He's an honest man. That's why I said he will refrain from speaking, because if he speaks, he has to speak the truth.
After the FDM thing they just encountered.
Oh, no.
After this one, NAIMOS had done operations in Birim North, Eastern region, and in Zima East, which is in the Western region. Yeah. And you know, on one occasion, whilst they were doing the operation, they called the heavily built men to come at them. Yeah. So they were able to overpower those people too. So you see they have a picture of 3 guys very well built. And then they caught them with weed, all sorts of things, pepper spray, and then chains, handcuffs. Like chains chains that they were rather going to use to sort of chain some people. Those photographs, we have them, share them.
So you see, Samson, what is happening is that it's left with coordination. Because maybe the number of people that showed up, the NAIMOS people could easily overpower them.
Yeah, these are the guys. Look at them. Well built.
Come and tell that it's a soldier, how will you not believe it?
Doesn't even look like maybe some retired officer.
Yeah, it does. Now, Samson, look at this. After that one was the EPA one.
Yeah.
Now, EPA 2 went with military people.
This was actually...
went with military people.
This was, after the EPA one.
We don't fear our military again. We all grew up during the coup d'etat times.
Senor, do you hear what she said? Professor Brown-Kluche, did you hear what she said? She said, they got there. They spoke to the military, and the military said, we can't. And around the same time, they were getting intel. She was being spoken to, and the military officials were also being spoken to, and they were being told to flee.
Yes.
So the military, they fled the place.
My brother, the people are not overcoming the state too. They've overcome the state. If the military has gone there and said that way they mean to, we are not even running back the way we came, because they'll catch us on the way and finish us. I think that this juncture, we should all realize that it needs some brutal ruthlessness. Mr. John Mama is too nice a man. John Mama, if you know him, he's a very nice guy. But this is not the time for this, Uncle John. No. By Monday, for me, the next day, they should have swarmed. Look, where else do we have a problem? Take out Boku. Where else? Where else do we have a serious problem? This is the most important fight that this president and commander-in-chief will have to fight. This is the most important fight. And we are losing. If our military can go there and these people can say, wait there, I cannot. Haven't you lost? If you have to now get a chief imam to be the one to save military, chief imam who just has a Quran is the one who has to save military, who are holding guns. And even that, the people are beating them at your back in the front of a police station. I don't know how to explain this to you. And if the NDC will sit down, and this is what you want to have characterized by your government, forget about your dollar. It's useless.
So, Senor, this is what they bent.
They bent this only because the boys who came were not enough. I said it's left with coordination.
The NAIMOS managed to arrest some of them nonetheless. But Professor Brown-Kluche, can you show us their vehicles again? The vehicles, the EPA vehicles that carried journalists. And they were running because they were told that all of you, run for your lives.
Almost dying.
And then they had a head-on collision with a truck. Do you know what the truck was carrying?
No.
The truck was carrying pipes that were going to be used in the Galamsey site. Let's show the trucks that got into that collision. And the EPA car, you see how the EPA car is damaged. And some of 4 journalists, at least one, we understand, is still in hospital.
Did you show us the car?
2 from Multimedia, 1 from City FM, 1 from Media General. Yeah.
I just, look, this is just, we are losing our statehood. And it's my biggest fear. Yeah. Look, 1, we have poisoned our food. We have poisoned our water. We have destroyed our forests. And now we are actually losing our statehood. How worse can this be for us to take absolute action? We are not fighting Burkina Faso. We are not fighting Ivory Coast. But guess what? All these countries around us have rebels.
What do you mean by absolute action? NAIMOS is military.
You carry 400 people to go and fight these people in pieces. The NAIMOS boss himself, they nearly beat him. He is referring to God. He, NAIMOS man with a gun, he's referring to God. Please, you can't send 400 people for this. Half our army should be sitting there and be doing this. What are they doing in Accra? What are they doing in Bamako? Mr. Camp for what?
Abena, so as we understand it.
Look, my brother, look.
That's the vehicles that were involved. And this, I think the one in front was carrying the journalist, and the one that was carrying the pipes is the one you see there. And so this potentially is the place where the EPA boss could have been killed, together with the journalists who were involved. What sort of death will this have been? She went with military.
It's scary, Samson. I saw the news, it was scary. I saw Madame Hanabisu's own as well. And I'm
yes, earlier, Hanabisu,
This is scary. And for me, we have not been able to win this fight also because of the involvement of politicians and political exposures.
Samson, I miss Rollins.
So continue, Abena, continue.
We haven't won this fight because of the politicians' involvement and political exposure. We know it from time, all this while we saw from Professor Frimpong's report and up till now. It is scary, and for me...
Okay, so I understand that the journalists actually, I said 2, right? 2, yeah. There are actually 3 from multimedia, and they are all still on admission.
Oh my.
2 at the Afare Hospital, and 1 is scheduled for surgery at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital.
Yeah, we are having too much death on this fight. We saw from Mahama, the soldier, or what's his
Major Mahama.
Major Mahama. We saw what happened at the death of the 8 people. There are a number of them through this whole fight. So for me, it is scary, and I'm thinking, can we look at our approach again? As we have the team, NAIMOS going there attacking with military, can we think about something with the Zongo chief? If this man without any arms was able to do this, it means the community also trusts. We need a community support with all whatever we are doing. If we don't get the community to support the process, it's going to be a fiasco, because Galamsey, in as much as we know outsiders are doing, it's also a local activity. We need to have that space. Another institution, as EPA is on the field.
Professor Enim, Professor Apiejetua and his students have diagnosed this not as a local crime anymore. They say this is international organized crime.
I agree, but you see the young people who mobilize themselves at the station. They are from the community. The MP said the boys called him. Why were they calling him? Because they say, you are a member of parliament, we voted for you. So that is what has also implicated the members of parliament as well.
Ebenezer, his point is that it was the Collins Dauda for Esutifi South, right? The MP is for North, right?
Right.
It was Collins Dauda who called him, who is away from the country, who called him and told him that there was a problem that he needed to attend to. Now, people are saying, even though this MP has been put in court and granted bail, people are saying that the 2 of them should not be let go, because it does appear that they have been part of those protecting this Galamseyers.
Yeah, it does. The reports, other reports we have seen, doesn't seem to collaborate with what the MP issued. And so for me, I think the process should go on, the investigation.
He said he went there to make peace.
Well,
clearly, people are suggesting, and those who were there, including Erastus, who got information and has evidence, say that he didn't go to make peace. He rather led the macho people there.
And that's where we are now. And for me, I think I still want us to look at another approach about the community level. If you look at the lifestyle in the mining areas, in the Galamsey areas, most of the children are involved. You should see the boys and the girls at that level. Many have left school. We need to also look at that. We need to have, there should be a space created for that conversation, that dialogue at the community level to say, at what cost do we want to put this state into? That we pollute the water bodies, which affect millions of people. Look at the health implications, the livelihood, the issue about food security. So the approach of, we can't militarize it alone. I think we need to look at another agency, another institution, having to go back to various communities to create that space. Look at people like the Chief Imam, the Zongo chiefs, and have that conversation at the community level. I agree it's international crime. The president and the minister said this is terrorism. This is the highest form of crime, indeed, that they have described it.
It's treason also. Commander-in-chief has sent people and you are beating them.
This is the highest crime.
Not any people.
Yes.
The police were there and see how they were disrespecting them.
No. Yes. It's
no
a shame.
respect at all for them.
It's a shame, and for me, it shows how vulnerable our state has become. If they can do this to our military, then we have a serious issue. It's something that we have to look at the approach again. I think that we have to do something about it. I don't know how best this could be done. If you're attacking our military like this and there's no fear, at first you see them and then people will be running away. But now they come face to face.
You come face to face. Yeah. You are beating them.
So Dennis, how difficult is it to identify some of these people in this video and to arrest them? Because it shouldn't be just about the minister and one or two people. Look at the guy who hit the army personnel and he almost fell. And under this situation, if he had fallen down, we don't know what may have happened. Yes, Dennis.
Council, I was in a meditative mood and I'd want to take it and I'll get there. If I don't, I'll lose my thought process. You see, it is time for this government to pause. Stop the theatrics. Admit the reality. We all get things wrong. All of us are human. Admit the reality and take a second look at the approach. You see, Galamsey has defeated this NDC government before they even started the fight. This government is down already. I won't lie to you. The government is completely down when it comes to the Galamsey fight. And I'll give you very good reasons why. And I say this without any malice because I've already said it before. I've said it severally. So this time, there's really not much political gain in it anymore. It's public knowledge. So these things that I say today, they are not for political capital. It is for us to be able to fix the situation. There was a challenge. When the MPP came to power in 2016, there was a big challenge. The challenge was Galamsey. As of September 2016, our current president and his ministers had given up on the fight against Galamsey. The majority leader today was clear. He said that he doesn't think we can win this fight against Galamsey. He was the leader of the task force at the time. I mean, he was part of the task force. Inisa Fuseni, Honorable, was the leader. So when we came to office in 2017, the president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, took certain steps. And I know why I'm building from here. First of all, by the 4th month, somewhere in Ipo, he placed a total ban on all forms of small-scale mining. And that ran for over 20 months. In addition to that, he sent the military and the police into our mining communities to beat, arrest, and when I say beat, I'm just saying it figuratively, to basically arrest all these criminals who are involved in these illegal activities. In addition to that, there were specific policy initiatives that were jointly put together by CSOs, the government, and the media coalition, if you remember. These included community mining schemes, government subsidizing and supporting these community mining schemes with mercury machines and other safe way of doing this. These included introducing security task forces in our river bodies and in our forest areas, like the yellow guard as we have it then, that has been changed into blue guard and all of that. Now, within 20 months, all our river bodies cleared up. Then the media coalition, the CSOs and the government then said that, oh, we've made progress. Looking at all the things we've put together, it is time for us to now lift this ban. And hopefully, and Samson, please pay very close attention to this point. Hopefully, these policies that have been put at the back end would help guide the situation. Immediately the ban was lifted, these criminals went back and started doing it again. 6 months after the ban had been lifted, I think the ban was lifted somewhere in December 2018. 6 months after the ban was lifted, the whole thing started again. Then the government was under pressure. The opposition job is to prefer alternative solutions, isn't it? So the NDC actually diagnosed the problem, according to them. And this was their diagnosis. 1, they said that the president and his ministers were the ones involved in Galamsey. Indeed, cabinet ministers today, including the government minister for communications, and the government communications minister, the two of them, Sam and Felix, said that if the government wants to end Galamsey, all he needed was 2 weeks. He has military, 5,000 1 week. He has military, 5,000 military. He can do it. Indeed, they said that immediately Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is voted out of office by the Ghanaian people, Galamsey will end. And this thing, it was run for over 17 months against the MPP government. Fast forward, when we were going into the 2020 elections, it was all about, Akufo-Addo and his government, they've beaten you people, they've destroyed your things, they've destroyed your livelihood, vote for us. When we come, even those who have committed a crime and have been jailed, we'll remove them, we'll release them. We'll give you your stuff, we'll do this for you, we'll do this for you. So by the time we go to 2021, and I'm saying this because it will connect to the question you asked. By the time we go to 2021, the Galamseyers saw NDC as a friend and a brother. The MPP became a foe to Galamseyers, and the NDC was seen as a friend. Why? Because the NDC, led by their then, before leaving power, Minerals Commission boss Tony Obe and their communications people, they actually went to the mining pits, and this is why I lie, is on video, that when we come, we allow you to mine. Vote for us. The day our parliamentary candidate here, Abubakar Sadiq, he's already a miner. He's doing it with you. So when you vote for him, the next day come. See, guys, we can't pretend. We cannot sit here and be pretending and be pretending and be pretending. So by the time we got into 2024, every Galamseyer was looking forward to an Akufo-Addo government. When did you ever hear that 2 weeks to an election, any government in our history had been under the kind of pressure Akufo-Addo and his government was? You, my president, you were all over the place. In fact, you said it very bottom, get out of office. Because you don't have a solution. Didn't you say that?
He's the worst president. Exactly.
Because the pressure had been created that Akufo-Addo and his government and his people were doing zilch about Galamsey.
But what did they do?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
We are talking solutions now.
I agree.
Can we fast forward?
No, I'm fast forwarding. It's okay.
I agree that the NDC has something to carry on that with the campaign. But you are the one who had the power.
It's okay. Let me
your power, the thing was not as bad as it is now. You had the chance to crash it, but you were thinking about politics.
Why? Well, make a talk.
My man.
It doesn't change the fact that you said this. And you were right. You said this because at the time the situation was glaringly a serious matter. So that's why you should have left land. You understand? So you were right. You said this and you were agitated. In fact, can you imagine that you are president? 2 weeks to elections. There is a clarion call for you to declare a state of emergency, else organized labor
was going to go
on a strike. Can you imagine? And all of these things were done with everybody believing that the opposition party had a better solution.
Absolutely.
Now, we go into the election, you win. And that is where my heart bleeds. Listen, we are in November, the year is ending. 1 year of your tenure is almost gone. What is the NDC's policy direction? What is the blueprint? What is the work plan towards fighting Galamsey? Zero, none.
Not zero. There's NAIMOS, the Blue Water Guards, they are going around. As we speak, NAIMOS is raiding places, burning down excavators, immobilizing excavators.
See why I took you back to give you that history? I took you back because I knew this would be your response and their response. All these things you are mentioning were things that were being done at the time Senor Osi and we were screaming.
It's true.
And they told us that wasn't the solution. We had yellow guards. The only difference between blue guard and yellow guard is that they had yellow. And these guys
these people are better trained. These people are better trained. I was there. They were better. These guys are the blue guys.
Are you a military man? Number 2.
I was there.
Number 2. If you had any better trained yellow blue guards, where were they when the military were being beaten? Let me put that aside.
They are on the water. They are not on the water.
I beg you. When I end my submission and there's nothing else to say, I don't mind. But I beg you. I beg you. You know how this thing means to me. Number 2, you have sent military into the forest and river areas and calling them names, NAIMOS, whatever. This morning, Felix made a post. NAIMOS undertake massive operation in Eastern region. You know what? NAIMOS was in Eastern region 3 weeks ago. They did massive operation. And yet they come back 3 weeks ago and there was another massive operation. What are you solving? Why are we pretending? Why are we behaving this way? What was the diagnosis? What did they tell us the problem was? They said campaigns. That was number 2.
10 months.
And that's when they come, they would not go after these boys that they are lining up, that you, Samson Lardy, you are looking at and saying they are working. They said they would never arrest these guys. And that they would arrest the kingpins. Where are the kingpins? Where are the kingpins? Why are you lining up these boys that you promised on video?
Akunta Mining was implicated.
Akunta Mining, don't go there today. This one, let me talk.
Today,
Akunta Mining, nobody should talk about Akunta.
Today, an MP has been implicated. He's been arrested.
That is why I give JMO for that one. But Akunta Mining, we got Akunta Mining. So NDC should give us their new kingpins.
It's a lie. Do you know who brought Akunta Mining's issue to the fore?
We did.
The government, then Nanado Danko Kufado.
No, Nanado. It is as the anti-Galamsey. Nanado said that he was.
The MPs from Mama went to arrest him. Is it not the media that
Agreed. As a minister who issued the first statement that said that Akunta Mining was not mining without a license.
Yes, so what are you talking about?
And then the coalition took it on.
We took it on.
Keneva Sigwe and the rest filed petitions with the police. And nothing was done.
To go and stand in front of priests.
Let him conclude. Let him conclude. I have a minister on the line that I need to speak to urgently. Yes, go on. Yeah,
quickly. To me, hasn't been convicted of anything, so it's the same. It still stands. He's not been convicted. Neither has the MP been convicted of anything. An MP that has been implicated.
But President Akufo-Addo sought to clear wound to me of anything.
Akufo never cleared wound to me.
He said he stopped.
What are you doing?
Okay, sorry.
See, Miriam. Before I say anything, I take my time and I listen to all of you. Number 2, whatever the MP has done today, whatever has happened to the MP by Mahama, that's exactly what Nanado did to me. We don't know the outcome of the MP's case yet. So why are you praising Mahama and accusing Nanado of anything? I am saying that please, no, please.
What to me was never arranged.
You only go to court after investigation. Do you know the charges against the MP? Have you heard it?
Have you heard the charges? I haven't heard them.
Exactly. Now let me tell you something.
They are not Galamsey charges. They were because of
his intervention,
rioting. I need you to finish. Yes, Theophilus, I'll come to you, but I have a minister I need to speak to before I come to you.
The point I'm making is that I heard you about this whole MP thing. Yes. It is not special. Or there are several people in the previous government that were referred to the same CID, the same NIB, the same investigative bodies. It's transmission not in court. I beg you, it's transmission not in court. Do you know Andy in Ashanti region?
I don't know Andy.
All of them have been, and they are all cases from Akufo-Addo. So please,
I don't know.
Please, you know him. I'll tell you later. If I measure, he'll bring another matter. But they've all been. In fact, his case has been dealt with.
They are in court because special prosecutor put them in court.
No, but was it not under
No, the special prosecutor actually they don't.
You understand? So let me not digress. Yeah. So my point is that the diagnosis that the NDC government made, they preferred solution. The understanding that all of us have is that once you put out those solutions to the diagnosis, we must have solution. We must deal with the matter.
I agree with you.
At the moment, none of the things they said they would do have been able to solve the problem. What it means is that we were right. Those of us who said they were misdiagnosing the issue were right. They completely misdiagnosed what the Galamsey problem is. And today, it's here to bite them really hard. Unfortunately for them, instead of sitting back, calming down, and looking for a way to deal with the matter, they are in a hurry to make a point and make a case and prove something to us. Those of us who are in opposition, and that is the NDC's biggest problem right now. They are so much in a hurry that they haven't even sat down to realize that to date, they don't have any blueprint of a policy direction in dealing with Galamsey. They haven't even thought about that. In their cabinet room, in their strategy room, they are all clueless and worried. And finally, my point and the reason why people are rising up against the state, it is because when you go to the mining areas today, the people who are mining are NDC people. I have facts, I have evidence, I'm mentioning names to you. When we know in this country when the Upper Denshire East NDC chairman, do you know who started beating military people? It is the Upper Denshire East NDC chairman and his boys. They were nearly strangling the military people. This was in the first 3 months of the NDC in office. This is not the first time military people in this country are being chased. It was they started being chased by the NDC chairman. It's on video. See, go to the Eastern region. He knows. The NDC people know. The people who are doing Galamsey are the NDC constituency chairman.
I don't know.
No,
the person who
our intelligence suggests
the person who
your people handed over the official handover ceremony to the NDC people, so that is a fact.
So there is one NDC constituency chairman.
Rastos has actually.
There is one NDC constituency chairman. He's the one that does the allocation of the.
And you have a 70-30 sharing ratio.
So for me, if you see that there are boys who are confident enough to say, "Let's go," and confront military.
Have you reported this chairman to the police?
I've said it on air severally.
But you have to report to the police.
I've said it on air severally. I'm not the one. When they claimed Akufo-Addo was buying
all right. Okay. So
as I conclude,
yes.
The reason why they are rising up is because they know that even if we are caught, there will be a big man that is either an NDC chairman or an NDC MP that will come and intervene. The Ebuakwa North MCE was on TV implicating the NDC chairman's son as being the owner of the site. That one, police is reporting when they went to arrest Abronye, did somebody report?
He did that actually at the Public Accounts Committee.
Yes. Did somebody report Abronye before they took action?
That is the matter.
Did somebody report Abronye before they took action?
If an MC has said something, the police should be acting.
Exactly.
It's nobody has to go and report it.
So as long as the
and he said it in Parliament.
As long as the so-called campaigns remain senior members of the NDC party, you should expect more of these things. Do you know how these political things work? How it works is that before the boy will put himself and his life on the line, he's looking at who is behind him. Sometimes they'll tell him, "Ubeko 3 days, 4 days, he might be away from home." That is the reality of the situation. And the NDC should not, under any circumstance, in their effort to cluelessly deal with this situation, come and tell us.
All right.
Now the Akufo-Addo and his people, what did they do? Fix the damn thing.
You keep saying
but you see, what they tell you, I'm not asking for a response. What they tell you is that at least in this regime, beginning with the party's Ashanti regional chair, or he's not the chair anymore. What is his name? Yamin and the other guy. They, Attorney General, wrote and asked, under the instruction of the President, as we understand, that they should be investigated because they were implicated in Galamsey. And some action has been taken by Iyoko in that regard. That's what we are told, that they are being investigated. That this never happened.
It's not true. It's a lie. It's a complete falsehood.
Which high-profile, politically exposed person?
And co. Do you know how Akufo-Addo got the so-called clearing agent? You think he was giving clearance in his office? He was referring them to CID and the National Investigation Bureau.
You're right about that. The CID cleared Charles Bisi.
So what are you talking about?
Okay, so hold on. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're still here on Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, as always, we put Ghana first. And we're asking the very important question. If armed persons behind Galamsey are driving away the soldiers, the military, and the police, do we really think that this solution of NAIMOS is working? The EPA boss also was almost killed. 3 multimedia journalists are in hospital. One is going for surgery. One media general, another city, they had to run because they were asked to run. And the EPA vehicle that was carrying them got into an accident. They could have died. What a foolish death it would have been. The state would have killed them. The EPA boss herself could have been killed. The NAIMOS commander, it's a commander in the army, is what, there is a person who is telling us now that he's thanking God. by the mercies of God, he escaped. He would have been killed. Should this still be the solution? I'll come to Theophilus shortly, but before I do that, the first subject we discussed about the glut or not glut, as far as the cereals are concerned, maize and rice and soybean, we have the Minister of Food for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, joining us. Thank you very much for your time, and my apologies that we kept you on the line.
Thank you very much, Samson.
Right. So,
I'm so much excited and grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for getting in to speak to us. Yes.
I know you've concluded on the subject already, but you've been generous enough to give me space to add my voice to the discussion. And I must say that I'm so much excited. And
your views are important because it's the solutions we are looking for, sir.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, Samson. We are witnessing food glut because of the bountiful harvest we have had this year. In fact, as you speak, in the 5 northern regions, harvesting is ongoing, it's underway. And all the figures we are putting out are estimates. They cannot be the actuals. But during the budget preparation, we realized that if all the interventions we are implementing become successful, we are going to have a bumper harvest. And therefore, we should prepare ourselves against possible glut. So in the budget, we made provision of 100 million Ghana cedis to support the national food buffer stock, to step into the market and mop up the excess produce when the harvest time, comes.
Importing 1 million tons.
This was based on the projection that we made. So this 100 million Ghana was provided for in the budget that was approved for the year 2025. And so when we started seeing the signs of possible glut, we immediately made the money available. We applied to the Finance Ministry for the release of the 100 million Ghana cedis to enable buffer stock discharge this money. Samson, this is the first time the national food buffer stock has been given the capacity to go into the market to mop up the excess. But within a matter of days, from 10 to 12 days, they reported back to us that they have exhausted the 100 million and so we have a lot in the market to clear. So we said, then we must have an idea of the volumes and how much we require to be able to clear it. So we sent our technical people to the field and they have submitted some figures to us, indicating that to be able to contain the situation, clear the glut completely, government will need not less than 500 million Ghana cedis to be able to do that. And so yesterday, we had a meeting as to how we can approach that. How are we going to be able to resolve this matter? And we have had discussions with WFP, World Food Program, and a lot of our partners. We are also engaging with the private sector to see how we can get them to be part of this. But in the meantime, we have had an additional 100 million facility to support a national food buffer stock. But as required by law, it is not the case that when you receive the money, you can just go to the market and then be buying. They have to go through the process to select the buyers to go and then buy on their behalf. And so measures are underway to contain the situation.
Okay.
We perfectly understand the danger that this situation poses if we are unable to contain it. One of it is that if we don't clear the grass, our farmers will be discouraged. And going forward, they wouldn't have the interest to invest again in agriculture and that will land Ghana into another mess that we cannot even think about. And so we are doing everything possible to clear. I just want the public to know that government has not failed the people of Ghana. Okay. The most important thing is that we have succeeded in our campaign, in our targeted investment to ensure that we produce in excess of what the market requires.
Right. So
what is left is how we can contain the excess. So these are the measures we are putting in place.
Right.
And Monday, around 4 p.m., we hope to come out to announce officially the concrete measures.
So thank you very much. We did actually refer, and even in our research slides that were rolling as we spoke, you have it on there how much government is committing to buy, these stocks from the local farmers. We did acknowledge that. But the question is, why did you have to sit for us to get to this place? Why must this become an annual ritual that they grow and then they don't have, buyers? And in the meantime, a part of their concern is that the price at which you are buying it doesn't make economic sense for them because they are going to lose. What do you say to that?
Okay, Samson, we did not sit in the ministry and determine the price for them. We formed a committee to determine the price, including the leadership of their association. Sure. Peasant Farmers Association, they were part of the committee. The agribusiness, in fact, agribusiness, they indicated to me that they were not part. And so when they brought me the report, I personally spoke to them that these are the prices we are offering. What is your take on this? And they said, give us some few minutes to do some consultation and revert to you. They consulted and came back to say that, Honorable, everything is in order, so please, you can announce it. So it is a collective decision. Certainly people will have some concerns, but what I'm saying is that it is not an imposition from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. It is a decision taken by a committee formed by all the stakeholders.
No. Now, there is one of our viewers who sent a question I want to repeat to you. He says that the issue is not really about glut. He says there is no rice glut in Ghana. Let it make sense. Why ports are still open for rice in a country crying over so-called glut? Perhaps what we are experiencing is a poor leadership glut. This is Emmanuel J. Bequin. What are you doing by way of policy? At the time you are buying from these, local growers, our ports are open, and all the junk is being brought in.
Yes, Samson, it is because of the huge gap between demand and supply. At the end of 2024, when we were handed over power, we saw the figures. Ghana's demand for rice, as we are told by the record, is estimated beyond 1.5 million tons. And production is hovering around 650,000 tons. And so the gap is so huge. And so if you put the ban today, and you are unable to produce so much to meet the demand, you have occasioned another challenge that you cannot resolve.
So what's your blueprint? What's your blueprint?
If we're able to scale up production to 1 million, 1 million this year. And then next year, when you look at our Feed Ghana program, we have all the targets in there. So we thought that by the end of 2028, Ghana will be self-sufficient in rice production. And at that point, you can place a ban on importation.
You have about half of what you are seeking to, you are targeting, and they are getting rotting. And you say you want to get to 1 million?
No, what I'm saying is that where we are now, we have a gap. We have a gap. The problem we have on the market is that Ghanaians have developed taste for imported rice. We all have a responsibility to work on how we can shift our preference, understanding the benefits that we can get by patronizing what is produced in Ghana. So now, placing a ban will be disastrous for us. But we are working on a policy to be able to contain the situation for now. Then at the end of the season, when we are done with all the harvest, we'll have a fair idea of the quantity that we're able to produce this year. And that idea or that data is what will inform the next decision going forward. In the middle of harvest, it will be inappropriate, Samson, for anybody to say that, take a decision on that. No, every decision that must work well must be based on data. And that's exactly what we are looking at.
Okay.
So let us allow the process to end. After the harvest, we are putting in place mechanisms to contain the glut. It is glut. Because if you go to the field and you listen to the farmers, in fact, some of them have threatened officially to act. And it is not only about rice and then the maize, soybeans that you are talking about.
Okay, so you make a fair point. You make a fair point about when you are bringing your intervention to look at a fresh start. But in the meantime, this is what you are doing. Do you, as a government, have the estimates for consumption for our schools, for our prisons, for the police, among others? At least this is where you could mop up all of these for.
Yes, some specific directives have been issued to ministries to act. The Ministry of Education has been directed by the President to ensure that all the food that is served to our students and all the food that is served to our inmates, the prison inmates, is bought from local sources. The President has further directed that in order to clear the egg glut that we are witnessing, because the egg farmers have petitioned, we have interacted with them, and they are also complaining egg prices are falling so low that if they are not careful, they cannot even recoup their investment. And that will be a huge disincentive to engage in further production. So the President said that Ministry of Education should ensure that they buy the excess produce to support the school feeding program. That's why I'm saying that a lot of interventions are underway to contain the situation.
So how much, for example, do the schools need? How much? What is their consumption rate?
In fact, that will be determined by the Ministry of Education. They will have that data.
Minister,
they will have that data. As for the school one, I wouldn't have it now.
No,
but they will
Minister,
have it.
This is not acceptable from a policy stance. You should be able to estimate that demand, that you can actually put government effort and policy to back. If at this stage you are telling me you do not know the demand from schools or government-driven demand, that's a big problem at this time. You can't even tell the impact of your intervention.
Listen to me and understand it first. This is a situation we have witnessed now. The
Minister.
Was issued, the directive was issued to the ministry yesterday. And I was there, I was privy to the discussions. So it is the Minister for Education who will have information relating to the number of schools they are feeding, the quantity of food they need to supply them. That is not the responsibility of the Minister for Food and Agriculture, who has the responsibility to produce the food. And that's why I tell you that one can be provided by the minister handling that. But from policy perspective, we have the policy document available. The policy of Food Free Ghana is to produce food and ensure that the food that is produced is sold. That policy is there.
All right.
But when it comes to the number of schools, the number of people you have to feed, that is in the domain of the Ministry of
Education. As a ministry, at this time, you cannot say you do not know, Minister. It is not acceptable from a policy stance that you should want to tell where the demand is, what government intervention.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Eric Opoku, Minister for Food and Agriculture, for your intervention. We will return to our discussion on the Galamseyers overcoming the state. That's in the words of Professor Kwesi Enin. But before we do that, let me share some of your messages with you. and then we'll bring Theophilus in to hear his point as well. Okay, so Hoffy says that Senyo is becoming very emotional. He's been fighting this for a long time, all of these years. Galamsey is overcoming this country. We are finished. Kwame says, it is only in Ghana that the state will display military vehicles on Independence Day and send military men to fight armed insurgents in the Galamsey areas with Mahindra pickups and Toyota V8s. To be frank with you, sometimes when you see even the vehicle that these special operations, the people are supposed to be driving in, the ministers or the state officials are sitting in the most durable, the best cars, and they are sitting in some pickups, you know, that people will shoot at. This country, eh? Okay, Stoic says that Miracles Abuaje, funny man, we are here because his government thought it wise to turn illegal mining into legal mining by giving them licenses. They did not face this opposition from the Galamsey because they were not fighting. Awimbon says, we have grown so bold. That was wrong. We have grown so bold to attacking our officers who are fighting Galamsey. Have we forgotten late Major Mahama that was lynched? You are now fighting them again. Do you know they are soldiers? What were you doing with the arms assigned to you? President, deal with the MP adequately. And I have tons of messages that are coming in that I'm going to share with you on this one. And Kofi Bentil, you have heard on this about this issue many times on this platform. He says, I have said and repeated that Galamsey is international organized crime involving well-resourced financiers who procure heavy equipment, including guns and ammunition, and employ foreign and local insurgents as internal aggressors who confront our security forces. Yet we are sending women civilian officials to do what? We are not even bringing a knife to the gunfight. We are sending women waving warrants. It is a joke. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. On the back of Kofi Bento's very bold statement in support of Senyo Hosi, saying that the attacks are evidence of Galamsey, the evidence that Galamsey has overcome our state. And this is why there should be a state of emergency. Atabadu, a foremost procurement expert, says that without a shoot on sight to kill order, we cannot fight Galamsey. Senyo will tell you, I'm very radical. Yes, radicalism begets intention. Rwanda is stable and law-abiding because of radicalism. Jacob Oseyeboa says, this is a sustainable solution to Galamsey. I speak as an authority on this matter. The government of JM is on the right track and the right approach in handling the Galamsey menace to balance or optimize socio-economic survival of the nation. But it is not sustainable if the ultimate solution is not intentionally done. Unless I explain, people find it difficult to appreciate. Okay, so he said he worked in AGA and was a director at AGA for 6 years until 2002 when he left and started warning the nation of what we are experiencing now, unfortunately. Jacob Oseyeboa, a former independent presidential candidate. Okay, I've seen your messages. We'll share some of them. Yes, Theophilus.
The Galamsey issue needs no equalization. However, because he invited me, I'll equalize a bit. When he suits Miracles, it's a bird. When it doesn't suit him, it's a vulture. We're here when he said, don't talk about us. Talk about your situation.
You, the politician.
Yes, talk about your situation.
Today I listened to the NDC people
and what they say about Galamsey, and I'm shocked. I'm asking myself, are they the same people who were?
Yes, we are the same people. We are the same people. We are the same people. And okay, let me go on this tangent. Miracles was seen in video talking about the fact that the Galamsey, if anybody tries to end Galamsey, he will lead demonstration.
It's a force. It's a falsehood.
No, when you were talking, I was quiet. You have the opportunity. You have the opportunity.
No.
You have the opportunity to come. Now, there was also a video that we all saw. There was also a video that we saw where the regional minister was in attendance.
Hold on.
I'm here. I'm talking.
I made the point that it's a falsehood. So hold on.
Take your time. You made your point.
You said it's false.
Yes, take your point. Take your time.
It's not true. Okay.
Now,
it's a lie.
Okay, take your time. Thank you.
It's a lie.
Where the MPP candidate was in a meeting with Galamsey, the Western Regional Minister was in attendance when he said that I will support you when you do the Galamsey. He was also captured. You mentioned the issue about the Akunta mining.
Yes.
Now, the president was asked in Koforidua.
In front of priests,
and he said, as we talk now, he used semantics. He said, as we talk now. He's saying the moment he was talking, there was no mining in forest reserve. And today we are being to between January.
You know what?
Yes.
People are not interested in all.
I'm coming to that. No, I'm coming to that.
They are interested in how you are solving it.
I am coming to that.
Can we move on?
No. He has left a message in the minds of Ghanaians, which I need to remove.
They don't see.
Now, I am coming to that. I said when you were talking, I was very quiet, my brother. Learn that from me.
If you lie on me,
no, you act, they don't see. You are not the day. You are miracles. You are not the day. So please be quiet. Now, between January 1st and 6th, over 450 licenses were issued. Who brought in the LI 2462? That they are asking others to repeal immediately. You see, let me tell you, when the licenses expire, because you have to go through a lot to renew your license, you just go to the next plot that is close to you, and the thing continues unabated. So for him to today stand on that moral right ground and tell us this, it shouldn't be from, we are fixing.
Fix it.
Now, he was talking about NAIMOS was in Osino. The fight is not a single event. For us, we are talking. Check Erastus Asaridanko's Facebook page. Osino is down. That's what he put it. Osino is down. They have cleared Galamsey in Osino. Now, there is nobody in NDC who is not aware, including the president, about the enormity and the fact that Galamsey can bring this government down. Yes, it looks like we are getting closer to the point where a state of emergency can be declared.
To be frank, yes. Theophilus, to be frank, I've seen some NDC guys, the way they came so hard at Benezado,
yes,
for his involvement in
the freedom matter.
You will not experience it under MPP.
No, I'm coming to that. Oh, please, when you were talking, I was quiet.
I'm referring
please,
to the
he interrupted me. He interrupted me.
That's a lie.
He interrupted me.
That is not
now,
true.
For the first time.
That is not true.
That's not brutalness from
It's Theophilus who is speaking. Can we hear Theophilus?
Miracles, when you were talking,
Theophilus, go on.
As I was talking, now, there's nobody in NDC. Even on the NDC lawyers platform, when the story first broke, some of the things I read, I asked myself, yes, you are not there, that's what I'm telling you. Some of the things I read, I asked myself, is this a people militia thing that nobody will listen yet to the guy? But everybody was angry because of the fact that we know what this Galamsey thing will do to the NDC government. Now let's go to the solution. I just mentioned NAIMOS thing. And let me also tell you some, Vera mentioned about the impact of the chief. Now, the alternative, the chief imam. Now, there have been stakeholder engagements being done, and they keep doing that. Now, you also notice that...
Which institution is doing that?
The alternative livelihood. Yes, they are doing across... Even if you watch the presentation that was done at the Flagstaff House when the president met the CSOs, they indicated some of the... They even met parliamentarians, etc., about that. So, about the fact that there is community engagement, you are requesting that whether there will be community engagement or is important, some of these things are being done. Back to... Even as we talk now, the police are pursuing some of the people that were seen in the videos in Hidden, that they should be brought to book. You see, the Galamsey thing had been with us for a while. It is a different approach. Previously, even last week, if you pay attention, EPA has shut down Shanfan manufacturing factory.
That's right.
Masi.
That's right.
Now, let's go back to the Hidden thing. Look at the speed with which the Speaker of Parliament ordered that the MP and the clerks should cooperate with the police. This would not have happened before. And you are also aware that even the majority whip was the one who accompanied the MP to police headquarters to be interviewed. That would not have happened Even though you are aware that we need to give the MP time for his side also to be heard. But for the fact that this will likely bring down the government, it is better that we release one person or people.
Senor and his coalition, they are saying that the solutions you are working at, it's not working. Kofi Bentil is saying you are not even going to the gun battle with a knife. That's what you are doing. And that's not right.
Samson, would you have
the suggestion is that, like Akufo-Addo did, start with a ban.
Can you imagine?
Outright ban.
No, Akufo-Addo said he was putting his presidency on the line.
How do you understand that thing?
No, but in fact,
in this country,
yes,
don't respond to him. Your time is almost up. Yeah.
Akufo-Addo said he was putting his presidency on the line, and what we saw after the presidency being put on the line, that is not what we want. The area we want to go to. Yes, it is not worse. The optics. When was the last time you heard the Catholic Bishops' Conference making statements about the fact that
last month?
Miracles. I know that is your strategy to interrupt me. I won't do that to you. But next time we are on show, I'll do it to you. When was the last time the Catholic bishops? They used to almost every time.
They still do. They still do.
Yes. I was here with them.
Yes,
they're so unhappy with what we are achieving. No. But I'm very impressed by GM. I mean,
there's so much had been done, and I understand that.
But I want to see proper action.
There's proper action. This will not have happened months or years back. This will not have happened, and we have seen improvement now. So let us rather give support to NAIMOS. Let us give support to NAIMOS. I believe strongly.
Do you agree that the state has lost this thing?
The state has not lost. That is why I'm coming.
Do you agree that the Galamseyers overcame the state in this instance?
No. Senor,
when they were beating your military people, our military people.
Can you imagine what would have happened if the military had retaliated by firing or by doing?
They were overcome. It's not
no, Senor, what if they had fired?
EPA boss ran away, go get accident.
What would have happened? That is also
with military people.
That is part of managing conflict. You wouldn't have been there for them to have shot into the crowd. What would have happened? That would have been a different story we would have been telling today.
EPA.
So that is also a strategy for them.
EPA.
No, the EPA were coming. Senor, pay attention to what EPA has done. I also just a while ago told you that even the Champagne manufacturing company in Kumasi has been shut down.
They've done well.
That is a success that has been achieved. So let us praise at least the little success that has been achieved. They are good.
Okay.
Let us look at that.
Thank you, Theophilus. Yakubu Ibn Chamba says that Galamsey must be made equal to commuting high treason in Ghana.
No wonder we
meant to say committing. Equal to committing high treason in Ghana, and that will put an abrupt end to the menace. John says that this is terrible. John is showing me some evidence to some claim he's making that those awarded the school feeding contract rather go to Togo and smuggle rice into Ghana and rebag them in sacks and supply to the schools. They are our problem. They even bring in more than their contract values and then supply the rest to the open market below the fair market price. And there's some evidence he's showing me. I'm going to deal with the news team and they'll follow up on this and then we'll see how what we get out of it. Ken is saying that once a topical issue starts with a sentence or words like this is the first time or unprecedented, then the discussion becomes partisan politics. When will our politicians stop prefixing their responses or presentations with these phrases? Angela says that before we can engage the community on Galamsey, order must be restored. A limited state of emergency is absolutely required. After order is restored, long-term community initiatives will be needed for total reorientation. Edu says, let's be honest with ourselves. The reason why the fight against Galamsey is failing is because the politicians are the main culprits. We should not sit in Accra and think we are far from the battlefront. Any state that does not go and occupy where his soldiers were defeated is not worth its salt. These guys will be emboldened and similar tactics will be used all over the place, and when they think they are powerful enough, they march to Accra and take over the state. That's the Sierra Leone syndrome. And Master Planner Papa Bisu, thank you very much. Unfortunately, I'm unable to read your messages because my time is just up. We want to shelve Shraj for next week. But you want to say something at all costs. Say it and let's go.
So 2 quick things. I am excited coming from anti-corruption institution about what Shraj has done. It tells us that if these bodies are given the necessary resources, they could do more. We are looking at ORA, the fight against corruption, what Auditor General can do, what PPA could do. So it means that we need this institution to function. And then reporting corruption, you realize that, I don't know the organization, Movement for Truth and Accountability. I don't know them, but for them to report it, we don't have a lot of whistleblowers in our country.
They eventually backed out, and Shraj said we'll continue whether or not you back out.
So even for Shraj, they can't themselves go out and do the investigation. Most of the time, they have to receive report. So we have to continue reporting corruption for them to do the work that they are doing. So reporting corruption,
that was not fairly treated.
Reporting corruption is important.
Yeah, I mean, I like what the work has been done is good. I commend the people, the whistleblowers in there. But I think that there's a whole system, and there are references that he makes, making those choices. The officers who were also responsible for it, he cannot be the only one being mentioned and being dried like that.
But he's a head of entity.
He's head of entity. Yes. Be careful. Watch how the GRA works. He's a commissioner general. He works with other commissioners. Hitherto, these commissioners often used to run different. They were almost separate entities, all right? So I think that accountability cannot just be thrown up there when there are clear people who are assigned roles to actually handle it, and they may have failed in their duty of care to the state.
In fact, in the report, he speaks about a commissioner who was responsible.
Yes, it does.
They say he was the one who was the head.
It was quite a comprehensive
right
report.
Now, Jim is a nice guy because others.
I'm saying that accountability must run through.
Right.
You cannot just say
the report was quite comprehensive.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My outfit is by Habils Couture. You can find them on all the social media handles. Just put in Habils and it will come up. You can call them on 0200 84 1988. 0200 84 1988. They make the best of kaftans. My guests have been Vera Abna Ado of the CDD, Senyor Hosi, the weeping prophet in Galamsey matters, Dennis Miracle Sabuaje with the Baumia campaign team, and Theophilos Jemaga Jr., lawyer with the NDC's communication team. I'm Samson Lardy Anyenini. Have a good afternoon.